Talk Nation, welcome back, everybody. Look, Jaron Ennis, aka the next one up in Philly. Shout out to Cool Boy Steph. Boots is getting real close to a title shot. Now, Terence Crawford recently he left Top Rank, captain of his own ship. Spence about to fight Ugas for a unification bout. Ugas is the current WBA champion. After he won decisively against Senator, soon-to-be president, Manny Pacquiao, quote-unquote, solidify his spot as the current WBA champion. Errol Spence, current WBC, IBF champion. Look, this is not going to be an easy fight for these guys because Spence fighting Ugas, tough fight. Now, Ugas is a problem. He's a problem. Cuban style. He went in there, he did his thing against Sean Porter, arguably won that fight. Manny Pacquiao. I mean, a lot of people say Manny was set up. I have my own inclinations about that theory because it possibly could be true, but that's either here nor there. He's the current WBA champion. Manny Pacquiao being the true competitor that he is, he didn't complain. Jaron Ennis moving forward. Boots is getting real closer to a title shot. Now, if he faces Thurman, which he wants that fight, Boots won all the smoke. He won all these guys. So it's really, you really don't want to say, okay, Boots wants this fight, he wants that fight. We all know Boots, he wants anybody in the top 5, especially if you are a title holder. Now that is the Terence Crawfords, the Errol Spences, the Ugases. He wants them all, including the up-and-comers, the Yordenis, Virgil Ortiz. Boots wants anybody, not only that you puts in front of him, but especially if they have a belt and if they can get him closer to a title fight, Boots wants that fight. And you have to take your hat off, man, to a fighter like that. Because nowadays, man, like these guys are like running back and forth, doing a whole bunch of talking. They saying this, they saying that. I mean, come on, man. Look, if you got a belt, if you're not going to fight your mandatory, then you need to fight somebody. Now, if this is Errol Spence, if you're not going to fight Terence Crawford, then who you going to fight? It had to be Ugas or one of the up-and-comers. Now, I doubt if he was going to risk it all fighting a Virgil Ortiz or Jaron Ennis, so he chose Ugas. Now, if he happens to win a fight with Ugas, now that's going to put further pressure not only on Terence Crawford, but as they say, that split. If he beats Ugas, he becomes a 3-belt holder in the division. Now that's kind of going to put Spence stock just a little bit higher than it is already going into that Terence Crawford fight. End of the day, if Bud really wants that fight, I'll take the 60-40 or whatever it is, because at the end of the day, and George Kambosos, he's a prime example of this. Look, like I had to take shorts up until I got to this point. Now that I have all the belts, now I am the man. Now I'm going to dictate the price and what's going to happen, not only as far as my career, but also to some degree with the division, because now these guys, they want to step up and they want a piece of me. It's kind of going to be the same way for Bud Crawford. You know what I mean? He's going to have to do what he got to do, and once he gets that shot, and if he's able to secure all the belts, then he is going to be in the driver's seat. So if you got to take the short end of the stick just a little bit, you know what I mean? Hey, man, if I'm Bud, if I was in that situation, I would, because I know not only I can recoup my money on the back end, but I know that next fight, I'm going to get everything that I should have got in this fight and some, especially if you win. That's just how boxing is. And Bud knows this. You know what I mean? And Spence knows this. That's why they are asking for the money that they are asking for. Because in boxing, man, I mean, boxing is like, I mean, it's fight to fight. No fight is guaranteed. You know what I mean? It's been a lot of upsets, you know what I'm saying, 2021. And you do not want to be on that side, you know what I mean, of the tracks, that it could happen to you, because it can happen to anybody. If you don't have the camp that you should have had, Sean Porter, guess what? You're going to go into that fight, you're not going to be prepared. And if you're not prepared, you're going to wind up getting hurt, getting knocked out. You know what I'm saying? You're going to look what just happened to Tyron Woodley. You know what I'm saying? Jake Paul courting, sleep. Now, for the next week, you the meme of the boxing community. You know what I mean? Vicious knockout. Vicious knockout. This is Jake Paul knockout over Tyron Woodley. Possible knockout of the year. But back to Jaron Boots Ennis, you know what I mean? We seen what he did first round knocking out, you know what I'm saying? Delorme don't get paid for overtime in boxing. Tough competitor. But I'm not surprised. I wanted Boots to go into that fight and possibly, you know what I mean? I wanted the fight to last a little bit longer than that, so we could finally see more of his skill set on display. But at the end of the day, hey, if somebody this is your opponent, they give you the opportunity and they get caught with a shot and you can get them up out of there first round, second round, get them up out of there. You know what I mean? This way, and you know Boots is already back in the gym. Couple days off, he's back in the gym, working on his craft, preparing for his next fight. That's how hungry Jaron Boots Ennis is. He's not just going to these fights for a payday, you know what I mean? He's going into these fights because each fight is getting him closer to where he wants to be. And that is in a position to fight for a title, period. And I like the fact that of course he's waiting, but at the same time, it doesn't matter. If you hold a belt, he wants that fight. He's not shying away from any of the top guys in the division at all. Recently, Danny Garcia moved up to 154, And guess what? I mean, Bud, Spence, that's going to happen with these guys too. They're going to move up. And eventually, these new guys, Boots, Virgil, Stanionis, you know what I mean, Rashidi, I mean, these guys, man, you know what I mean? Like, they next up. They're the next faces of the division. So their time is coming. So these guys at the top, and there's not many anymore. It's really not. It's really getting down to the point where it's just Bud and Spence. Thurman, he's pretty much, you know what I mean, fighting for a paycheck. I don't think that he has, you know what I mean, I don't think that, I mean, Thurman want to be a champion no more. Too many injuries, you know what I mean, too many injuries. So he can get fights at a high level because of his name. You know what I mean? Something like Adrian Broner. AB, definitely some losses on his records now, but AB is still a name. Adrian Broner is still a draw because of what he brings to the fight, his energy, from, you know what I mean, for what he brings to the buildup of the fight. And plus, AB is a good fighter. He just doesn't let his hands go. But if Adrian Broner gets into the position where he trains like he should be training, and then he gets into the fight and he lets his hands go, Adrian Broner is still dangerous. Now we have to see how things are going to look, you know what I mean, moving forward. Now we seen recently, you know what I mean, what Conor Ben did to Chris Algieri. And you already know him and Eddie Hearn already said they would love the Adrian Broner fight. So I already know AB, it's about the money. If they give Adrian Broner the money that he's asking for or looking for or close to it, AB is going to take that fight. I don't think Adrian Broner is scared to fight anybody. You know what I mean? But the bag got to be there. I said this a long time ago. I would have loved to see Adrian Broner fight Jaron Ennis, even though I know Boots would have smoked him. Boots would smoke AB. Especially Adrian Broner don't throw no punches. You can't be that type of fighter stepping in there with Boots, not being able to throw no punches. You can't do it. You can't do it. But moving forward, Boots is not only a problem, but he is going to destroy these guys once he gets that opportunity moving forward. So Spence, Crawford, these guys need to fight first quarter, second quarter of 2022. Now, if Spence can go in there and get rid of Ugas, which won't be easy in my opinion, I believe that next fight, if Spence doesn't fight, Thurman or somebody else, I think that should be the next fight. But naturally, we're going to see how things shape up, because these guys have been ranting back and forth, for years, playing duck, duck, goose. So we're going to have to see how things shape up with these two competitors. But Jaron Boots Ennis is on their heels, man. He deserves that shot because he is undoubtedly, the new star and the next star of the division. He's there already. These guys know it. They can passively, dismiss him all they want, but Boots already, not Boots, Terence Crawford already acknowledged him. Spence already acknowledged, but they're not going to put him up on that pedestal like that, But they know, skill-wise, even though Jaron Boots Ennis is still young, look, skill-wise, he can go in there and he can bang with these guys. And I don't care how old you are. If you have the skill set to compete at a high level, in my opinion, that's all that counts. That's all that matters. It don't matter how old you are. Skill is skill. So, Boots, Crawford, Spence, these guys are quote-unquote the top guys, high tier, top 5 of the welterweight division. Now you got Conor Ben, Virgil Ortiz. But I said this a long time ago. If Boots can't get Bud early part of 2022 or Spence second quarter, he needs to fight Virgil Ortiz. He needs to fight Virgil Ortiz because these guys are quote-unquote the up and coming. They're the new faces of the division. So Boots need to fight. He need to fight Virgil. I think stylistically, that's a good fight. Virgil Ortiz, can box, but at the same time, he's a come forward, aggressive fighter. Recently left RGBA to go over there with Eddie Reynoso and Canelo. So I would love to see Virgil Ortiz, who not only who he's going to fight next, but I want to see what Eddie Reynoso is going to put into Virgil Ortiz because he was already, an explosive young fighter. Now going over there with Eddie Reynoso, it's going to be very, very interesting. You know what I'm saying? But moving forward, y'all, Jaron Boots Ennis, we all know he's a problem. In my opinion, I believe that he could take down anybody in the division, top 5 to top 10, period. But the beautiful thing about boxing is anybody can be beat. Question is, do you want to get into the ring, set up that fight, and be the one to beat him? Doesn't matter who it is. Now, that's the problem with some of these guys. They know they can be beat, but they don't want to risk it. You know what I mean? Because sometimes to get to your spot in boxing takes a little while. And once you get there, you can get knocked off of that perch very easily. So some guys are very strategic and careful about the opponents they pick. They just don't say, okay, put them in front of me and I'll knock them down. You know what I mean? Because they can put anybody in front of you. But the question is, are they putting a challenge in front of you? Are they putting somebody in front of you that could possibly win and knock you off? And I just make it a quote-unquote interesting fight. We've seen what Isaac Cruz just did to Tank Davis. A lot of people think Isaac Cruz should have got the nod. But Tank Davis, being the A-side, he got the A-side nod. You know what I mean? A challenger is not supposed to go in there and give the champion trouble or problems, you know what I mean, or hurt them. They're not supposed to do that. If they're able to do these things, that means the challenger is supposed to, quote unquote, win that decision if the fight goes 12 rounds and you're going to get upset. If the challenger can go in there and make it a difficult fight, he has his spots where he hurts you, he makes it competitive, he's the aggressor, you know what I mean? Then, in my opinion, you know what I mean? Like, that's what makes a challenger, in my opinion, convert to the A side. If they can go into a fight and they can do that to the champion. And that's what Isaac Cruz did, man. He made that a tough fight. You know what I mean? Yes, Tank got some shots in. I mean, it's Tank Davis, but at the same time, Tank didn't look the same when he fought Eastside Cruz opposed to Leo Santa Cruz. You know what I mean? We all seen what he did to Leo Santa Cruz. Nah, man, like I said, Tank is still dangerous, but Tank is getting to the point where he's going to have to start facing some tough opposition. You know what I mean? He's going to have to start facing some tough opposition. So they say, you know what, Tank, we haven't seen the best version of Tank yet. We shall see. Because his next couple of fights, in my opinion, they should be tough fights, especially the performance that he put on with Eastside Cruz. His next couple of fights should be tough fights in order to re-elevate Gervonta Tank Davis. Because that fight with Eastside Cruz made him look a little suspect. Yeah, he said he hurt his hand, but this is boxing. Everybody hurts their hand. Everybody hurts something. You know what I mean? But in the fight, he was still throwing that hand. He was still throwing shots. So that hand wasn't totally immobilized in the fight. Eastside Cruz was just a tough competitor. He knew how to move and utilize his movement and his head. A lot of those shots that Tank was catching Eastside Cruz with, they was landing off of Eastside Cruz's head. And if you listen to the trainer in the corner of Team Cruz, that was a part of the game plan. You know what I mean? For those shots to literally bounce off Eastside Cruz's head because he got a hard head. And guess what? It worked. And guess what wound up happening from the result of that tactic and game plan? Tank might have hurt his hand. So if these guys fought again, or Eastside Cruz fights anybody again, I see him doing the same thing. I don't think that it was a fluke at all because he looked too comfortable in the fight. He was aggressive in that fight. Even after the fight, Eastside Cruz came over to Tank Davis when he was being interviewed after the fight, you know what I mean, and jumped in the interview. That tells you something about his confidence in the fight. So moving forward, Jaron Ennis, he is going to be a problem. He is going to be a problem moving forward. And I would love to see him fight Thurman. I think he stops and knocks out Thurman in under 10 rounds. Easy. I don't see that fight going a distance at all. I think he stops and he knocks out Keith Thurman. Danny Garcia went up to 54, so it's not going to be Philly against Philly in that fight. But Conor Ben, he said he wants AB, so I can't call out Boots Ennis for that fight. Stanionis, I mean, who knows? But as far as within the division, I believe that Boots, he should pursue Keith Thurman. He should pursue that fight. Keith Thurman claims he don't know who Jaron Boots Ennis is, which is retarded. And it's kind of suspect. Kind of shows where you at. And kind of shows that you're afraid to face the young lion. But he should go after Keith Thurman. If he can't get Keith Thurman, I'll go after Virgil Ortiz. Or, you know what I'm saying, Stanionis. Or put your bid in for Conor Ben. You know what I mean? That'd be a fantastic fight. Credible. Will give you a lot of notoriety, you know what I mean? Especially if Jaron Boots Ennis is willing to go over to the UK to fight Conor Ben. But that'd be a great fight. But Talk Nation, moving forward, Jaron Boots Ennis, Virgil Ortiz, Stanionis, Conor Ben, like these guys are the new faces of the welterweight division. And I told you guys before, man, like Bud, Spence, they got a year or two left, man, as far as being the top on top of the division. So that's why within this time frame is already going into 2022. These guys have to fight in 2022. After that, I don't think people are going to care. People are still going to want to see the fight, but it's going to be one of those fights. It's like, man, you dudes should have fought 2 years ago. You know what I mean? So some of the luster is going to leave the appeal of that fight if they keep on dragging it out. So just going to have to see what things in. But Talk Nation, stand up as your boy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Smash that like button. And I'm going to catch you guys on the next one, man. Peace. You already know, man. Stay blessed. Stay humble. Stay motivated. Protect yourself at all times. Guard up. Mask up. Why? Because there's a war going on outside. And ain't none of us are safe from it. Peace.